What is up, YouTube? This is Chris coming back at you guys with another deck profile. Today I have my zombie deck profile that I recently made with the new support that came out, the new structure deck. I had built this deck before, and I was using Grass Looks Greener, and while that card is really busted and really fun, I'm happy to say that this deck doesn't need it anymore. They gave the deck enough support where it can kind of stand on its own, be its own thing. I really enjoy it. This is like more Master Rule 3. You can try to play it Master Rule 4, but it is better with Master Rule 3. But I will showcase the deck. I really enjoy it. This is one of my favorite decks to use. I was late to zombies. I didn't run zombies for a long time, and then I got into them probably like a year and a half ago, something like that. But anyway, without further ado, let's get into it. So, most zombie decks, I think it's kind of essential, staple. You play triple Shiranui Solitaire. This is your best starter from the deck. This is basically your what people call your lone fire boss from the deck. You just tribute it, or tribute any zombie, I suppose, and then summon a zombie tuner from your deck with 0 defense. And then it has another effect of if it's banished, you can special summon a Shiranui that was banished as well. That was not this card, but that doesn't happen a whole lot. But he's a great card, obviously, and I do love the artwork. He's really good, and I'm happy that this card came out. I remember when this card came out in Dark Illusion, everyone was so hyped about this card, and I was all just like, hey, Dark Magician stuff, that's what I'm at, but little did I know how good this card was. Anyway, and then what you normally go into with that card is triple Unizombie. Unizombie, they finally made it hollow, which is really nice, much needed, much desired. Unizombie just says once per turn, it has 2 effects. Once per turn, you can discard a zombie monster from your hand. Maybe it doesn't have to be a zombie. Maybe it has to be anything. What is it? No, discard any card, but basically, you target a face-up zombie on the field and increase, or target a, can it be any monster? I'm sorry, I apologize, guys. Target a face-up monster on the field and you can increase its level by 1. You generally don't do that effect. You do the other effect, which says once per turn, you can send a zombie from your deck to the graveyard and then bump up a zombie's monster by, or any monster's level by 1. And you can only use each of those effects once per turn. So the main play goes with this card, Triple Mizuki. And when I first built this deck, I was using gold rares, and they were gross looking. I'm happy to say I have the secret rares now, and they look amazing. Mizuki says if he's in your graveyard, you can banish him from your graveyard to special summon any zombie from your graveyard. So Mizuki is the blood of zombies. He's what they go off of. He's the life force. But with Unizombie, the main combo is you go into you normal summon Solitaire, Trip Solitaire, go into Unizombie, Unizombie's effect, dump Mizuki, make this a level 4. You banish Mizuki from your graveyard, summon Solitaire, and sync for a level 8 synchro. Or you can go into a rank 4 play or whatever. While that is a play that is most common, I am happy to say that that is not a play that you have to do to like feel like you can compete or win anymore. It's a play you'll always have, but it's not. You don't have to worry that, oh, I didn't get Solitaire or Unizombie or whatever and I lose. You don't have to worry about that. I do play 3 Unizombies. I see people sometimes bump it to 2 because they don't want to draw it. I think it's fine to draw because you can still... Any card that lets you dump Mizuki, you should probably play at 3. Speaking of, I played Mizuki's effing brother, the awesome one, Gozuki. So Gozuki says once per turn you can just send a zombie from your deck to the graveyard. Once again, that's great. Most of the time you're dumping Mizuki. He has another effect that comes up every now and again. It says when he's sent from field to the graveyard, that you get to banish a zombie from your graveyard other than him to special summon a zombie from your hand. That can come up, but mainly you're just using him to dump. He is nice because his sending from deck doesn't happen on the summon, so it's really nice that he doesn't have to be normal summon to do it. It's just you can banish Mizuki, and if you haven't used this effect this turn and he's your grave, you just dump. So dump another one. So I like him for that. I play him at 3. You could play him at 2, I guess, but I would play him at 3. Next, Triple Zombie Master. Zombie Master, cool ass card. A card that I love that like not every archetype has this kind of card. Or every type of monster, every monster type. Zombies just have a card that just says, hey, you can discard a card, and then does that have to be a monster? Yeah, you have to discard a monster from your hand, but then you can just special summon a level 4 lower zombie from your graveyard. Zombie Master's great. I love him. I love the artwork of the card. I've gotten some flack from people that say you don't need to play this card or don't play it at 3. I never have a problem with this card at 3. Never. So, because guess what? You can just put it in your grave. Nothing's better than having this card in your graveyard and then you Mizuki it out. It's great. Okay. You do play more Shiranuis. I play Shiranui Spirit Master at 3. So Spearmaster says if he's normal summoned, yeah, just normal summoned, you can special summon a Shiranui from your hand, which cool, could let you go into like some rank 4 plays or maybe some 6-star synchro plays. I know Shiranuis are getting some more support. If I find any of it worth a damn, I'll try to put it in here or see, but we'll see what happens. Its main thing that you're using it for, if this card is banished, you just target a, I think it has to be face up. Yeah, target a face up card your opponent controls and pop it. That comes up a lot. That's the main reason he's in there. His normal summon effect is a cool bonus, but you're mainly using him just because if he's banished, you get to pop some. Really cool. But you run him in conjunction with triple Shiranui Spectral Sword. Spectral Sword, he's a level 2 tuner, so it helps you go into synchro plays off of the Spirit Master if you get him. This card, its main thing is if it's in your graveyard, as long as it's not the turn it was sent to the graveyard, you can banish him and a non-tuner zombie, and then just synchro summon any zombie synchro from your from your extra deck. It's not ignoring its summoning condition, it's just you can just synchro summon it out like it was synchro summoned normally. But you don't have to worry about the names. For instance, there's a few zombie synchros that want like specific tuners, but this card helps you bypass that. Really great card. This is just one of those things that like Konami did a great job of like being like, hey, we're gonna give zombies some support, but in a cool way, and not like super busted, but just letting you get out zombie synchros and utilizing those. Really cool, and I love his artwork. It's amazing. Okay, and then for like kind of my tech, I play triple Malevolent Mech Goku N. So maybe you guys are wondering why the hell this is in here. So you can normal summon this card without tributing, and if you do, I think this card will like kill itself at the end phase, but that's usually, you never really worry about this card still being out there. So it's great for a few reasons. One, you can just straight up normal summon it. That could help you with maybe some synchro plays, stuff like that. There's a few cards in here that you need level 5 or higher zombies on the field. This card helps with that. And we do have some synchros and XYZ plays that this card goes along with. I'll get into those as I get farther into the deck profile, but he looks cool. I think they should hollow this card out too once people see that this card is actually functional, but we'll get to that. For the new support, I play triple Tatsunecro. So Tatsunecro, he can only do this if he's normal summoned, but if he's normal summoned, you can synchro summon a zombie synchro monster using monsters from your hand as materials. All the materials that are used for the synchro summon, including this card, get banished. So he's a 3-star, so that like if you have a 4-star in your hand, you can go to a 7-star. If you have a 6-star in your hand like that, Malevolent Mecha Goku, you can go for a 9-star synchro. So there's a lot of cool stuff you can do. I mean, you could always bump this down to 2 and find something else that you liked. I just didn't find anything else that I liked better. I tried it at 2, and then I think 3 is fine. He could be dead if you already had to use your normal summon for something else, but it's not the end of the world. And he looks cool. So triple, was it Necro World Banshee? She is really good. So she has the effect of if she's on the field or in the graveyard, you can banish her and then just put a zombie world straight from your deck onto the field. That's really great. I love the fact that with the new support, they made Zombie World the focus and a card that you like need to be playing in the deck. Because before, Zombie World was kind of like, hey, there's a few zombie combos that you can do with Zombie World, but other than that, it wasn't really helping you that much. Now, they've made it a focus, and it's great. Konami, if you ever like watch this or whatever, great job on that. I don't think she does anything else. No, that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's it. She's cool. Run it at a 3, that way you can get your Zombie Worlds faster. Triple Glow Up Bloom. This was like an unexpected card. I didn't really ever think they would like make a card like this, like a zombie version of Glow Up Bloom. That's a pretty cool idea. So it's a 1-star zombie tuner. It does have 0 defense, and people, they did that on purpose so you could Shiranui Solitaire it out if you wanted to. I love its effect. It says if this card is sent from if it's sent to the graveyard, period. So whether by like pitching it from the deck or if it's on the field, if it goes to the graveyard, you can like it will banish itself to do the effect. But basically, you can add a level 5 or higher zombie from your deck to your hand. That would be Malevolent Mech Goku or the next card I'm about to show you. You can add it to your hand, but if you have Zombie World on the field, you can just summon the card straight from the deck. Really cool. I love it. It helps a lot. You can easily... This card is so easy to pitch to your graveyard and just summon out this next guy. The new boss monster of the deck, Doom King Baldarok. He has a badass name, he has badass artwork, and he has a badass effect. So he's got 2800. That way right there that I just showed you with Glow Bloom is about the easiest way you can get it out. Obviously, if you can pitch this card in your graveyard, you can just Mizuki it out. But it has a graveyard effect that says if Zombie World... Oh no, if a field spell is on the field during your standby phase and this card's in your graveyard, you just special summon this card in defense. And then, it has an effect that says anytime a zombie monster's effect is activated, and I don't believe that effect has to be on the field. It could be graveyard or whatever. And keep in mind, if you have Zombie World, your opponent's monsters will be zombies. You can either negate that card's effect, so preferably if your opponent had a zombie monster with Zombie World, you would just negate their effect. Or you can target one card on the field, earn either player's graveyard, and banish it. So if your opponent's doing something, or if you're doing something, you can just, hey, I'm going to banish that. This card is really great. I think it's the perfect kind of boss monster for the deck that synergizes perfectly with it. It's good, it's really good, but it's not too busted. It doesn't just say negate everything, stop everything, unaffected by everything. Konami, you need to stop making cards like that. It takes the fun out of the game, and it just starts to become really generic. Like, this is the kind of support you need to be making. You did a great job with this. It's a level 8. You can do some stuff with that, but it is a great card. Okay, so I run only 2 Goblin Zombie. Now, I've heard some zombie players say, why do you run Goblin Zombie? It's not that good, and it's not necessary anymore. There's some great cards you can search that have a... This card says that you can search a zombie. If this card's sent from field to the graveyard, you can add a zombie with 1,200 or less defense from your deck to your hand. There's a lot of good zombies with 1,200 or less defense. All it has to do is be sent from the field to the graveyard. Your main thing you're doing with that, synchro summoning. So he's like kind of your synchro summon fodder that you would want. I love his artwork. He also has an effect that says if he does battle damage to your opponent, they have to send the top card of the deck to the graveyard. That's not going to happen a whole lot that we care about, but synchro summon fodder, being able to search. I'll go into some of the targets you can search, or one of the main ones I use, but he's a good card. I like it at 2, maybe not 3. I only play 1 Plague Spread. This card is really easy to dump, so I don't really think you need it to, because if you have the 1 in your graveyard, that's kind of all you want. Anyone who doesn't know, if he's in your graveyard, you can place a card from your hand on top of your deck and then special summon him. But once he leaves the field, he gets banished after that. Obviously, you could use him for XYZ fodder and keep using him, but I don't play a rank 2 or anything like that. But Plague Spread at 1, I think he's fine. Helps you with synchro plays. A good kind of play that you could do if you had the setup with Mizuki is you could, like, Mizuki him out with a 4-star monster, go into a 6-star synchro, and then use his own effect to summon him again, and then go into, like, Clearwing Synchro Dragon or something like that. Really cool card. Yeah, he makes Clearwing really easy to make, but he lets you go into some other plays too. 1 Shooting Doji. I put this card in here a while ago. I like it in here. I don't know why more zombie players don't use this card, but the main thing you're doing with it is if he's on the field, you can banish 2 zombies from your graveyard to draw a card. That is a soft once per turn, not a hard once per turn. So if you can Mizuki this back out, you can draw again, and you can draw again. So really good. Also, being able to banish zombies from your graveyard. We know the Shiranuis like to be banished, so that is a good thing. Yeah, he's just a really good, underrated card. I think 1 of is fine. I don't think you need any more. His brother that goes with him is 1 Bone Crusher. Bone Crusher says if he's special summoned from the graveyard using a zombie monster's effect, I think it has to be graveyard. Yeah. By zombie monster's effect, you can just target 1 spell to trap your opponent controls and blow it up. That is not once per turn. So if you can, your opponent's got a lot of back row and you can just keep bringing this thing out, do it. Zombie Master or Mizuki can bring this card out and let that effect go. The ulti, this card is really cheap actually, but I think as a 1 of is good. The fact that you kind of have back row removal at your disposal, nice. I like it. So this is the card I was talking about that you can get off Zombie Master. This card could change a game for you. Kasha. Kasha says that if you control, or if they're, do you have to control it? I think you do. Yeah, while you control 2 or more face-up zombie monsters. And then you shuffle, what is it? Let me read it. Sorry, guys. When this card special summon, return all other zombie monsters on the field to the deck. So if you have Zombie World out, your opponent's monsters will leave. And then this card's attack is equal to the number of zombie monsters returned this way times 1,000. I'm sorry. It'll return all monsters on the field to the deck regardless, so they don't have to be zombies. But you have to control 2 or more face-up zombies to summon her out. Really cool. Its attack could get really high if you have a shit ton of zombies or whatever, but regardless, just a good card to just like remove monsters, non-targeting, all that kind of stuff. Doesn't destroy them. So really good. Last monster, my Berserk Dragon. I love this card. It is playable in this deck. I don't want to hear any crap about this card like, oh, it's a brick. What happens if you do this or whatever? Okay, people, listen. So you can get it out with a Deal of Dark Ruler, which I'll just show right now as like one of the spells, but I don't play 1 of it. But okay, let's say this card's in your deck, right? And you can easily summon level 8 monsters. That Doom King is a level 8. You can easily sink into level 8 monsters. If any of those monsters just get sent to the graveyard, you just play a deal. They have to leave the field or get sent to the graveyard? Yeah, sent to the graveyard. You can just activate a Deal with Dark Ruler, special summon this thing from your deck. People, this card can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each. It has 3,500 attack points. That's ridiculous. Okay, if this card's in your hand or something like that, you can pitch it off Unizombie. You know what you can do with this card in your graveyard? I'll show you. There's a monster in the extra deck that can utilize this card really well. But it's 3,500 attack. It's only a 1-of. You have easy ways to pitch it. It's not that big of a deal. I love it. Okay, so the spells, triple zombie world. You have that Banshee card of the way to search it. You could run Terraform as you were that focused on it, but I think the Banshees get the job done in a better way. Zombie World just says it turns all monsters on the field into zombies and in both players' graveyard into zombies. And then I believe neither player, contributes summon monsters except zombies. Doesn't affect you because you're all good with that. Everything's a zombie in your deck, but your opponent, I don't know, if you went against like True Draco or something like that, the monsters in their hand aren't going to be zombies, so they wouldn't be able to do anything like that. Monarchs, they have like one monarch that's a zombie, but anyway. Triple Call the Mummy. This was like my most recent addition. I kind of was just sitting there and I'd look at my hand and I would have like 4 monsters that I would love to summon, but only 1 normal summon. This card helps. I think it's essential. You can just use it once. For those who don't know, if you control no monsters, you play this card, and it's continuous obviously, but if you control no monsters, once per turn, special summon any zombie you want from your hand. Really great. It's a zombie version of Valhalla. This card came before Valhalla, so I should say Valhalla is the fairy version of this. But helps you kind of I don't want to say unclog your hands, but just actually be able to play. Because zombies, they don't really summon more than 1 monster out of their hand a whole lot. That's not really what they're designed to do. They're mainly just for the grave, but this can help you get some more monsters out there and do some more plays. So, new card, Zombie Necronize. I do play this at 3. I like it. So, it says that if a level 5 or higher zombie monster is on the field, so it doesn't have to be your side of the field, it could just be either side of the field, you can target a monster your opponent controls and take control of it for the whole turn. That's really good. And then this card says if it's in your graveyard, you can return a zombie, I think, from your graveyard. Is that what it says? I think, hold on. Shuffle one of your banished zombies, I'm sorry, from your graveyard. Or take one of your banished zombies, put it back in your deck, and then you can set this card. But banish it when it leaves the field, and you can only activate 1 effect per turn. So you can't do it the same effect that it hits the graveyard or whatever, but if you already played it. But this card, because of how easy you can summon level 5 or higher zombies, and, maybe your opponent has something higher, but this card, being able to take control of your opponent's shit, that's great. And I love it at 3. I don't have a problem with it. I like it. I like that my opponent kind of has to worry about this card, that I just have it and they don't. Triple Barrel from a Different Dimension. I tried running this card at 2, and I just kind of was like, you know what, screw it. I think I need 3 of this card. You banish so much. You get so much crap that you're like, I want this back in my graveyard. You do it so often with the Mizuki plays and Plague Spreader and all this other kind of stuff. But sure, anyways, this is great. Gets them back into your graveyard right where you want them. It's not once per turn. It's great. You can use it during either player's turn if you wanted to. Great card. I think it needs to be a 3, just with how often you do it. I mean, you could try to play it 2, but it's been at 3 for a couple months or maybe a year now, so I think we need to use it at 3. I got some 1-ofs, 1 Book of Life. Some people would say, hey, why don't you just run Monster Reborn? Well, look, everything in my graveyard is going to be a zombie, so that benefits me. And then, I mean, yes, I can't play it during my opening turn if my opponent doesn't have anything in their graveyard, but most people have hand traps, so it's not that big of a deal. But in order to play this card, your opponent has to have a monster in your graveyard, and you banish their monster to special summon your zombie from the graveyard. I like it. What are the chances am I going to have to play Book of Life? I kind of like to do stuff like that. 1 card Destruction. Really great because most of the stuff in your hand you'd rather just have in your graveyard anyway, so you can Mizuki it back out. Just kind of helps you go through your deck faster. This is a 60-card deck. If Grasslick Screener ever comes back to 1, I would play it in here, but it's not necessary. So, Konami, you don't have to bring that card back. 1 Foolish Burial. If you're playing a zombie deck without Foolish Burial, you're an idiot. And then lastly, 1 for 1. I would actually possibly take this card out because it does special summon the Glow Bloom. It only works with Glow Bloom in this deck, and it special summons it straight from the deck. The thing is, I don't know, most of the time I feel like you don't even need to do that. Because the Glow Bloom, yeah, you could do some synchro plays with it. I guess that's why it's in there. And pitching a card out of your hand wouldn't be bad. So, that's it for the main deck. The extra deck, so it's mostly synchros, and keep in mind, like I said, this is mainly designed for Master Rule 3, but basically, in Master Rule 4, this deck just goes a little bit slower. But in Master Rule 3, you can synchro spam like a mofo. But anyway, 1 Doom Kaiser Dragon. I love the ulti. I got this card when it was cheap, before really anyone was playing it, I don't know, a year ago. It was before the Zombie World support, but Doom Kaiser just says if you special summon, you can target a zombie in either player's graveyard and special summon it. Oh no, it's in your opponent's graveyard and special summon it in attack position. And then destroy the monster you bring back when this card is removed from the field. But he's great, like, because of Zombie World, like, your opponents, they might have some good shit in their graveyard. He just needs Plague Spreader and a non-tuner, so a level 4. That's pretty much it. But you can get him with the Shiranui stuff. Keep in mind, every zombie synchro you can get out with the Shiranui stuff. One Archfiend Zombie Skull. He's only able to get out in this deck with the Shiranui play, with Spectral Sword. He takes a Plague Spreader and 2 non-tuner zombie monsters. That would mean that you need Plague Spreader and like a level 3 and a level 1, or you need Plague Spreader. I'm sorry. Yeah, level 3 and level 1, or 2 level 2s with Plague Spreader. And we just don't have the levels to make that, so that ain't happening. But he says all zombie monsters you control can't be destroyed by card effects. That's the reason he's in there. I don't think any person should ever take this out. It's a great card. You can just kind of like sit there and like your opponent just realizes, oh, I'm screwed because he has that out there. One Stardust Charge Warrior. This is mainly because you get out your 6 stars. You get out a lot with Plague Spread, and Plague Spread says you need to put a card from your hand back on top of your deck. It's nice that you can just get that card back with Stardust Charge Warrior. So if you are planning to go into Crystal Wing, this is the best card to go into because it kind of says you don't lose a card out of your hand to do the combo. So he can attack all special monsters your opponent controls once each. So you're like never gonna do that. Usually you just synchro with that card. Lastly, for the 6s, one Coral Dragon. I don't see a whole lot of zombie players use this card. I think you should because it's a level 6. Keep in mind that like if you have Zombie World, this card is a zombie in your graveyard and you can just like bring it back out and that's busted. But that happens a lot with me, but because you can synchro with it. It is a tuner, but you can discard a card to pop a card on your opponent's field. That's great because a lot of the shit that you want, you just like discard out of your hand. Really good. You always want discard fodder in a zombie deck. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, and if this synchro summon card is sent to graveyard, you get to draw a card, so more card advantage for you. The only 7 I play is the new Red Eye Zombie Necro Dragon. So he gains, I think, 100 for every zombie monster on the field in either graveyard. That can get high if you got Zombie World. And then if a zombie monster would be destroyed by battle, I think regardless of who kills it, yeah, when another zombie is destroyed by battle, you can special one zombie from either graveyard to your field. That's busted. He's really good. The best way you can get this out is with Tats and Necro. Okay, for 8s, I play 1 Omega. I go back and forth of wanting to take this card out, because not because it's bad, people, because everyone just plays Omega. I kind of wanted some diversity, but it is a great card. If you're going first and you're going to make an 8-star synchro, it's usually the best one you can go into. You sync into Omega using your Shiranui Solitaire play. You sync up into that. And then during your opponent's standby phase, you just return your Mizuki that you banished back into your graveyard. And then he can just start ripping cards out of the hand. And that's pretty good. And that's why he's in there. One Shiranui Shogun Saga. So I know a few dudes that go to my locals that play zombies. And they were literally... This is before like the Zombie World, like the structure deck and stuff. But they would literally... They would go into Omega every time. And that was the only 8-star they were playing. And they didn't even know that 1, this card existed. And 2... Because if you use Unizombie, only zombie monsters can attack for the rest of the turn. If you use the pitch from deck effect. And they were summoning Omega and being like, yeah, pass. And this was on like their turn. And they might have like an open field and they just like weren't doing anything. They'd rather rip a card out of your opponent's hand. That's stupid in that scenario. This card can really game your opponent. And this is the card I was talking about. Where's it at? If I can find it. Not a big deal. There it is. So I said Berserk Dragon. I said you got more utilization for this card than you think. If Berserk Dragon's in your graveyard... and you summon Shiranui Solitaire, which this card just needs zombies to make, zombie tuner, non-tuner zombie. This card, when it's summoned, you can banish any zombie from your graveyard that you want. And whatever that monster's attack is, this card gains it for the rest of the turn. That's a 3,500 point boost. That's easy as hell to do. Also, I think if this card like leaves the field or something like that, if it's destroyed by battle card effect, you can target a banished zombie monster with 0 defense, return to the graveyard. That, who cares? This card is just to kind of like OTK, kill your opponent. Like, get over their high-level, high-attack monsters. Scarlight, I think Scarlight's really good in this deck. Scarlight, it basically is just 3,000, and he can destroy all special summon effect monsters on the field that have equal to or less attack than him, and then inflict 500 for each one. That could be your monsters, that could be your opponents, I mean, both. A lot of times you have plenty of monsters to blow up that it wouldn't, you're just trying to do burn damage. This card's really good. I think you should play it if you can make 8-star synchros. Crystal Wing, like I said, mainly you're probably going to make this using Stardust Charge Warrior. And And Crystal Wing, I think if you can make Crystal Wing, you should try to do it. For anyone who doesn't know, he can negate monster effects once per turn, and then you can't kill it in battle with a level 5 or higher monster, basically. 1 Beals. If you can make Beals, make it. Unizombie's a level. It's a Dark Tuner. Plague Spread's a Dark Tuner. Beals can't be destroyed with battle card effects, basically. The new guy that came out, the level 9 tuner, or level 9 synchro, Yoko, the graceful Mayakashi. So, this is a girl, I'm sorry, but basically the only reason it's in here is because it's a 9. It is a zombie, so that comes up. It's got 2900 attack, that's cool, but its effect says, if this card is special summoned from the graveyard, you can destroy a monster your opponent controls. So, you can Mizuki it out and then pop a monster. So, pretty good with that. 10-star, I play Shiranui, was it Sun Saga? If you've already synchro summoned using zombies or whatever, like, he's good because he can pop stuff when he comes out for every, like, zombie synchro or whatever that you have banisher in your graveyard. So if you're not doing that and you're just summoning him for the first time with, like, regular stuff that's not zombies, he's probably not going to get his full effect. He's got 35 that's basically all he does. And then for the XYZs, I play 1 Minerva. You can make rank 4s really easy, and Minerva can just detach to mill 3 cards from you, and then if she gets blown up, you can just mill another 3 cards. So that could be really good. 1 Pilgrim Reaper. Pilgrim Reaper, I put him in recently, and I actually really like him in here. He is a zombie, so that's like an extra bonus, but you can make rank 6s pretty easy because think about it. If you summon a level 6, like if you get the, what is it, Goku or whatever, you can really easily go into 6-star synchro, so that's not that hard. But anyway, Pilgrim Reaper just says you can detach a material, send the top 5 cards of each player's deck to the graveyard, and then it says, like, for every dark monster in either player's graveyard, he gains 200 attack and defense. I mean, that's cool. Yeah, but you're mainly doing it for the mill effect. That's pretty much all he's in there for. And then lastly, 1 Dampier, Vampire Sheridan. This card just came out like a year ago. What I was saying was, with Goku, if you have Goku and the Zombie Necronize spell card, you can just normal summon Goku, activate Zombie Necronize, take any of your opponent's monsters, and then with Dampier, it says if you control one of your opponent's monsters, you can use it as material and it becomes a rank 6 for this card. So it's really good. Dampier, I think, can just like pop shit and send it. I'm not going to go through his whole effect, but he's really good. He can really just like get rid of shit. And then I think you can detach materials, summon a monster if you send it to the graveyard using his own effect. That's pretty much it. That's it for the deck profile. Sorry it took so long. Zombies, a lot of fun, especially if you play Master 3, but if you play Master 4, I guess it could still be fun. I find Link plays to be boring as hell to me, but anyway, play zombies, try different builds, try to be original, don't just do the Shiranui Solitaire play the entire time, try new things. That's why I like this deck. Anyway, if you guys have any questions, comment, like, subscribe, whatever, let me know. I try to answer comments, all that kind of stuff. If you have a question of why a card is in the deck, I try to answer it. That's it. Have a good one.